Tactical RPGs have a special power. They pull you in, and suddenly hours are gone. One smart move can make you feel unstoppable. One mistake can destroy everything. Some are classics, others are cult favorites, and a few are bold modern gems. But they all share one thing. Once you start, it's hard to stop. Today, I'll show you 12 tactical RPGs so addictive you'll forget everything else. The Last Spell is one of those tactical RPGs that hooks you instantly. At first glance, it looks like a pixel art strategy game, but once you start, it becomes a relentless survival challenge. The premise is simple. Defend your town against endless waves of monsters at night, then rebuild and prepare during the day. But the execution is so intense that one more run quickly turns into hours lost. Combat is grid-based, but unlike most tactical RPGs, you often fight hundreds of enemies at once. Positioning, area of effect attacks, and resource management are everything. Each hero is fully customizable with weapons, perks, and skill trees, meaning every run feels unique. You'll celebrate small victories, like holding the line for one more night, only to face an even deadlier wave the next. The addictive loop comes from its mix of roguelike and tactical design. Failure is common, but every defeat teaches you something new. Maybe a better build, a smarter defense layout, or a weapon combo you hadn't considered. That constant push to refine your strategy is what keeps players glued to the screen. Despite being an indie release, The Last Spell feels massive in scope. It demands patience, planning, and resilience. For fans of tactical RPGs, it's both brutally punishing and incredibly rewarding. The kind of game you start just for a bit and suddenly realize the night is gone. Jeanne D'Arc on the PSP is the kind of tactical RPG that proves handhelds could deliver epic experiences. At first, it looks like a standard grid-based strategy game, but within minutes it reveals a unique rhythm of battles, progression, and cinematic storytelling that makes it hard to put down. The game retells the story of Joan of Arc, but with a fantasy twist, demons, magic, and supernatural forces fuel the battles alongside the clash of kingdoms. Each mission places you on a battlefield where positioning and timing are everything. Units have clear roles, and success often comes down to anticipating enemy movement and coordinating attacks at just the right moment. One of Jeanne D'Arc's standout mechanics is the transformation system. Jeanne and a few chosen characters can use special armlets to unleash powerful forms, turning the tide of battle when things look desperate. It adds a layer of tension and excitement. Do you use it early to gain momentum, or save it for a boss who can wipe out your squad? That constant decision-making keeps every fight engaging. Between battles, the game also gives you room to train, equip new gear, and plan strategies. Combined with the emotional story and charming art style, it's the kind of RPG that draws you in and refuses to let go. Jeanne D'Arc isn't just tactical, it's a perfect mix of strategy and heart, the kind of experience where just one more battle can stretch late into the night. Front Mission takes tactical RPGs into a very different arena, giant mech warfare. Instead of swords and magic, every battle is fought with customizable machines called Wanzers, and that alone gives the game a completely unique flavor. Once you get into it, the mix of strategy, customization, and tension makes it hard to stop playing. Battles take place on large grids, with squads of mechs facing off against enemy units. Positioning matters, but so does preparation. Before every mission, you can outfit your Wanzers with new weapons, armor, and parts. Every choice counts. Heavier gear might give you more firepower, but at the cost of mobility. Lighter builds let you move quickly, but risk being destroyed in a single blow. That constant balance between offense and defense is addictive. Combat itself is intense because damage is location-based. A lucky shot might blow off an enemy's arm, leaving them unable to use weapons, or destroy their legs, leaving them stranded. Every turn feels high stakes, and watching your carefully tuned mech land a critical hit is deeply satisfying. The story adds even more weight. Front Mission isn't just about machines, it's about war, politics, and the cost of conflict. Combined with the tactical depth, it's the kind of game that makes you want just one more mission until hours have flown by. Whether you play the original Super Nintendo version or the modern remake, Front Mission proves that mech strategy can be just as addictive as any fantasy battlefield.
To capture any more.
Fire Emblem Engage is the perfect definition of a tactical RPG that eats away your time without you even noticing. From the moment you step into Helios, the colorful art style pulls you in, but it's the combat that keeps you glued to the screen. Every battle plays out on grid-based maps where weapon types, positioning, and unit pairings can completely change the tide of war. One careless move and you can lose a favorite unit forever, thanks to the series' famous permadeath system. What makes Engage truly addictive is the Emblem ring system. By equipping rings tied to legendary heroes from past Fire Emblem games, your characters gain unique powers, skills, and flashy transformations. It creates a constant push to try new combinations, test synergies, and build the ultimate team. The satisfaction of turning the tide of battle with a perfectly timed Engage attack is something you'll want to relive again and again. Outside combat, the game gives you a hub to train, bond with allies, and prepare for the next big fight. It keeps the cycle fresh. Battle, strategize, grow stronger, then throw yourself back into the fray. The sense of progression is constant, and every victory feels earned. With its blend of accessible strategy and deep mechanics, Fire Emblem Engage is dangerously easy to binge. You tell yourself you'll just finish one more chapter, but hours later, you're still playing, planning your next move, and wondering how to optimize your squad even further. Crossrays is pure tactical RPG obsession, wrapped in the style of one of the biggest mecha franchises in history. What makes it so addictive is the sheer scope. You're not just controlling a handful of characters, but an entire roster of Gundam units from different timelines, each with their own storylines, weapons, and evolution paths. Every battle takes place on large tactical grids, where strategy comes from not only positioning, but also team synergy. Units level up, pilots gain skills, and mechs can be upgraded, rebuilt, or combined into even stronger machines. It creates an endless cycle of experimentation. Which pilot works best in which Gundam? What upgrade path gives you the edge? And how to field a team that feels unstoppable. The thrill of deploying your custom squad and watching them dominate the battlefield never gets old. Add in the cinematic attack animations, and every battle feels like a miniature anime episode unfolding right in front of you. The game constantly rewards investment, and that's what makes it hard to stop. You always want to tweak just one more unit, unlock one more mobile suit, or test a new combo in the next mission. It's not just strategy, it's collection and progression layered together. For Gundam fans, it's a dream come true. For tactical RPG fans, it's a bottomless pit of content that keeps you coming back night after night. Rogue Trader throws you straight into one of the most brutal universes ever imagined. You step into the role of a rogue trader, granted near absolute power to explore and profit across the dangerous edges of the galaxy. It's a mix of tactical combat, crew management, and narrative choices, and once you start, it's hard to walk away. Battles play out in turn-based style, with every move feeling like life or death. Cover, positioning, and resource management are key, and enemies punish even small mistakes. Weapons hit hard, companions bring unique skills, and your squad's composition can completely change the flow of a fight. That constant tension keeps every encounter sharp and addictive. But the strategy goes beyond combat. Rogue Trader places you in the middle of political and moral decisions that shape entire star systems. Do you enforce the iron will of the Imperium, embrace forbidden Xenos technology, or carve out your own destiny? Every choice pushes the story in new directions, adding weight to every decision you make. The blend of tactical battles with galaxy-shaping consequences makes it a game you can lose yourself in for hours. One mission becomes two, and before you realize it, an entire night is gone. For fans of tactical RPGs, Rogue Trader is a reminder that strategy doesn't just happen on the battlefield, it happens everywhere. Hour of Darkness is what happens when a tactical RPG decides to throw out every limit and just go wild. On the surface, it looks like a standard grid-based strategy game, but once you dive in, it reveals layers of mechanics that can consume hundreds of hours. It's not just about winning battles, it's about breaking the game in the most entertaining ways possible. You control Laharl, a demon prince trying to reclaim his throne, joined by a cast of bizarre and hilarious characters. The story is full of comedy, parody, and over-the-top antics, but the real addiction comes from the gameplay systems. Maps are packed with geopanels that change terrain effects, forcing you to think creatively with every move. Defeating enemies can trigger chain reactions, bonus rewards, and complete chaos that makes every stage feel unique. But the real trap is the depth of progression. Characters can be leveled all the way to absurd numbers like level 9,999. Weapons and items each have their own dungeons you can explore to make them stronger. The game even lets you reincarnate characters to restart at level 1 with boosted stats, encouraging endless experimentation. What makes Disgaea so addictive is that there's always something else to do. One more battle, one more level, one more ridiculous combo that deals millions of damage. It's funny, it's strategic, and it's the kind of tactical RPG that keeps you playing long after you promised yourself you'd stop. Gladius is one of the most underrated tactical RPGs of its generation, blending the thrill of gladiator arenas with deep, strategic gameplay. Instead of controlling knights or mages on a battlefield, here you're running a school of gladiators, recruiting fighters, training them, and leading them into brutal, turn-based battles. The concept alone is fresh and addictive, but the execution is what makes Gladius so hard to put down. Each battle takes place on a grid where movement, timing, and character roles are everything. Fighters can be archers, heavy warriors, beast tamers, or spellcasters, and the way you mix them defines your entire strategy. The game also adds a layer of skill-based input during attacks, a small mini-game where hitting the right timing boosts your effectiveness. This mix of planning and execution keeps the action constantly engaging, instead of just watching turns play out. Outside the arena, the addiction deepens. You manage your school like a living roster, deciding who to train, who to equip with better gear, and which tournaments to enter. Traveling across different regions introduces new arenas, rival schools, and even mythological creatures to battle. It feels like you're building a legacy, not just winning random fights. What makes Gladius stand out is how it captures both the spectacle and the strategy of gladiatorial combat. Every victory feels earned, every loss pushes you to refine your tactics, and the long journey of building the ultimate team is as compelling as any story-driven RPG. It's a tactical RPG that doesn't just challenge your brain, it keeps your adrenaline pumping until the very last match. The Legend of Runersia is the kind of tactical RPG that doesn't just ask for your attention. It demands long hours of planning, conquest, and strategy. At its core, it's a grand war simulator where you command one of several nations, each with its own leaders, armies, and ambitions. The addictive hook comes from the cycle of preparing troops, expanding territory, and clashing with rival kingdoms in massive tactical battles. Every unit in your army matters. You recruit knights and summon monsters to build squads, then deploy them across hex-based maps. Positioning, terrain, and unit synergy play a huge role, and battles can feel like high-stakes chess matches where one wrong move can unravel your entire strategy. Watching your carefully built squad either dominate the battlefield or crumble under pressure creates the kind of tension that keeps you glued to the screen. Between battles, the management layer pulls you even deeper. Training units, redistributing forces, and planning invasions become just as satisfying as the fights themselves. The mix of macro-level strategy and micro-level combat ensures there's always another decision waiting for you, another front to prepare, another rival nation to bring down. Brigandine is not a game you play in short bursts. It's one you sit down with, start planning just one more turn, and suddenly realize hours have disappeared. For fans of tactical RPGs, it's an endless loop of war and strategy that can easily consume entire weekends. Tactics Ogre is often described as the game that set the standard for every tactical RPG that came after it. On the battlefield, it feels like commanding a living army. Each map is isometric and layered with details where terrain, elevation, and even facing direction can turn the tide of combat. That level of precision is exactly what makes it so addictive. Every move feels critical, and every victory feels earned. The combat itself is deliberate and punishing. Positioning units poorly can cost you the entire mission, while clever use of the environment can swing the odds back in your favor. The PSP version adds the chariot system, letting you rewind a few turns, which helps soften mistakes without removing the tension. It's a smart balance that keeps the game challenging, but never unfair. Progression is another hook. Characters can be promoted into dozens of classes, each unlocking new skills and abilities. Experimenting with different builds becomes its own obsession. Do you make a versatile army, or pour resources into a few elite fighters? The freedom to mold your squad ensures no two playthroughs ever feel the same. the story is just as unforgettable. Instead of a simple good versus evil tale, Tactics Ogre weaves political intrigue, betrayal, and difficult moral choices into its branching narrative. Multiple endings mean your decisions carry real weight, and that gravity pulls you deeper into both the story and the strategy. Decades later, it still stands as one of the most addictive tactical RPGs ever made, the kind of game where just one more battle easily turns into an entire night. Troubleshooter Abandoned Children is one of those indie tactical RPGs that feels like it should be talked about alongside the giants of the genre, but almost no one has heard of it. Made by a small Korean team, it takes the classic grid-based strategy formula and supercharges it with modern systems and overwhelming depth. At first, it looks like a standard tactical RPG, but a few hours in, you realize it's something much bigger. You control a squad of troubleshooters, mercenaries working in a futuristic city filled with crime, corruption, and political conflict. Every mission feels like a small war. Dozens of enemies, environmental hazards, and objectives that keep you on edge. Positioning, cover, and skill synergy are critical, but what makes the game truly addictive is the progression system. Each character has multiple skill trees, unique weapons, and hundreds of passive abilities to combine. The freedom to customize your squad means no two players will ever build the same team. What also sets it apart is its scale. Missions are long and challenging, sometimes lasting hours, and the story slowly reveals layers of intrigue as your team grows in power and influence. It demands patience, but rewards it with one of the deepest tactical experiences ever made by an indie studio. Troubleshooter isn't a casual pick-up-and-play game. It's the kind of RPG you sink into for weeks, tweaking builds, experimenting with new strategies, and chasing that perfect run. For fans who crave complexity and obsession, this is a hidden gem that deserves far more recognition. Final Fantasy Tactics is one of the games that defined what a tactical RPG could truly be. Released on the PS1, it blends complex strategy, addictive customization, and a mature storyline that feels closer to a medieval political drama than a typical fantasy. From the moment you step into Ivalice with Ramza, the game demands full attention and rewards it with incredible depth. Battles play out on isometric grids where positioning is everything. High ground gives you range and damage advantages, terrain slows or speeds up movement, and a single mistake can cost you dearly. Every turn feels like a puzzle, and pulling off the perfect plan brings immense satisfaction. It's the kind of design that makes you lose hours to just one more fight. The job system is where it becomes dangerously addictive. Characters can train across dozens of classes, from knights and monks to more unusual roles like time mages or calculators. Skills can be mixed and matched, letting you build entirely unique units. Do you create a heavy tank who also heals allies? Or a teleporting mage who wipes out enemies in a single spell? That freedom keeps experimentation fresh even after dozens of hours. The story's just as powerful. Instead of a simple good versus evil tale, it's about betrayal, corruption, and the heavy cost of war. The politics of Ivalice make every battle feel like it matters beyond the grid. Even decades later, Final Fantasy Tactics remains one of the most addictive strategy RPGs ever made. A perfect balance of challenge, freedom, and storytelling that keeps players hooked from start to finish. And that's the end of today's video. I want to thank you all so much. We've just passed 1,800 subscribers. Every day, I try to improve and bring better content for you. Your support is what keeps this channel alive and growing. I'm truly grateful to each and every one of you for being here. Let's keep moving forward together. The best is still to come.